So today is the most auspicious day of Shri Shri Lakshmi Narasimha Chaturdashi, the divine appearance day of Narasimha Dev. So I was thinking to discuss some of the glories in connection to Lord Narasimha Deva and his dear devotee Prahlad Maharaj. We'll start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhas. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagalpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I will share this slide. Please let me know if you can see the slide. Hare Krishna, can you see the slide? PowerPoint slide?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. So today we will talk about the glories of Prahlad Maharaj, because as we know, Prahlad Maharaj is the most dear devotee of Sri Lord Narasimha Dev. So we will pray to Prahlad Maharaj himself and then Sri Lakshmi Narasimha Bhagavan, so that we can be immersed in the glories of their lordships on this most auspicious day. So this is the picture from our own SNGM temple. Today there is a big celebration here, and we will seek the blessings from them first. Now a little bit history of all these pastimes. So long back in Satya Yuga, there were, of course, this pastime happened in Satya Yuga. So there are some reasons for these pastimes. Of course, Lord's pastimes are happening every moment at some place. And the main reason is we know Lord is descending to this material world to protect his devotees, and then to annihilate the demons, and also to establish the religious principles. So Paritranaya Sadhuna, that verse in Bhagavad Gita describes that. Now the material world is a reflection or perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So that means whatever happens in this material world, whether it is so-called good things or so-called bad things, everything has an original cause from the spiritual world. So similarly, all the rasas, mellows, all the emotions, etc., whatever we experience here in this material world, maybe happiness, maybe sadness, maybe becoming angry or envious, etc. Everything has a source from the spiritual world itself. That means anything happening here is already happening eternally in the spiritual world. And what is happening here is a simple perverted reflection of the event happening in spiritual world. So all these rasas are also happening in spiritual world. That is why it is happening here. So in this context, the Veera rasa, as we will see going forward, Narasimha Dev will fight with Hiranyakashipu. So that Veera rasa is happening it is existing in the spiritual world, and Lord would like to experience all kinds of rasas. So Yogamaya will make arrangements for the Lord to experience that, even in this material world when he descends. So once upon a time, there are 4 Kumaras. They visited Vaikuntha Loka, and they would like to take darshan of Lord Narayan. So as you can see in this figure, they're always in this, baby forms. They're brahmacharis, 4 Kumaras. So when they entered the Vaikuntha Loka, so there are 7 gates, and the first gate there are these 2 beautiful personalities. They are Jaya and Vijaya. They are the doorkeepers of Lord Narayan. So they somehow stopped these 4 Kumaras. So they did not allow them to get in. Now 4 Kumaras, being very elevated, somehow they did not like the behavior of Jaya and Vijaya. They were thinking, why should they stop us from meeting our own Lord Narayan? We are not here to harm anybody. We are his own devotee. We would like to meet him. Why they are stopping? So somehow they got angry, and then they will curse Jaya and Vijaya. Now there is another pastime in connection with this event, which is described elsewhere. So that is the same doorkeepers Jaya and Vijaya. One day they were asked to guard the door of the personal room, private room of Lord Narayan. So Lord Narayan is taking rest one day. He was taking rest, and he wanted not to be disturbed. So he asked the same doorkeepers Jaya and Vijaya to guard his door in that private room, and he strictly instructed that do not allow anybody to enter. So somehow or other that day, Lakshmi Devi was trying to enter. Lakshmi Devi is consort of Lord Narayan, so she has full freedom. So she thought, okay, let me go into his room. But Jaya and Vijaya, they are very obedient servants of Lord Narayan. So they simply obeyed his instruction, do not allow anyone. So they did not allow Lakshmi Devi to enter. So what to do? So Lakshmi Devi waited for some time till Lord Narayan woke up, and when he came out, she entered the room. And then she was not at all happy, as you know, right? She is the consort of Lord Narayan, and she is not at all happy with the behavior of Jaya and Vijaya. But then Lord Narayan also could not, do much immediately, because he only instructed them. But Lord is Lord. He knows how to deal things the best way. So so Lakshmi Devi wanted Lord Narayan to chastise or do something with Jaya and Vijaya, so that they will learn a lesson that do not do such behaviors. So Lord Narayan did remember that, and then at this event where Jaya and Vijaya is not allowing 4 Kumaras to enter, so he made a plan. Lord Narayan made a plan that I can please Lakshmi Devi, also I can please 4 Kumaras by doing this thing. And one more thing, because Jaya and Vijaya are his own devotees, so he doesn't want to leave them. He would like to please them also, because all of them are his own associates. So Jaya and Vijaya, having this service of guarding the doors, and they had a desire to satisfy the Lord's desire to fight, to experience the Veera Rasa, chivalry Rasa. So Lord has all these desires. He's a Lord, and his devotees would like to satisfy his desires. That is the ultimate purpose of any devotee. I simply want to satisfy the desire of the Lord, not my own desire. That's the mentality of any pure devotee. So Jaya and Vijaya had that desire. We would like to satisfy Lord Narayan's desire to fight. And then who else can fight with Lord Narayan? Anybody in this material world, conditioned souls like us, we are very, very tiny, insignificant. We cannot fight with Lord. No, we are nothing in front of the Lord. But his associates, by the empowerment of Lord himself, they can give him that joy. So Lord knew that also, that my dear devotees Jaya and Vijaya, they have the desire to satisfy me by fighting with me. So let me make a plan by which I can satisfy all these three, Jaya and Vijaya, four Kumaras, and Lakshmi Devi. So he made this particular arrangement wherein four Kumaras are coming in, Jaya and Vijaya are stopping them, and then four Kumaras will curse Jaya and Vijaya. So they'll give a choice. You can either become, take birth, 7 births as great devotees in the material world, or take birth, 3 births, not 7, only 3 births as demons, and then you will be killed by the Lord. Now, Jaya and Vijaya, they have the desire to satisfy Lord's desire to fight. So they chose the second one, taking 3 births as demons, and then let us be killed by Lord. Also, they thought, instead of 7 births, 3 births are better so that we can come back soon, back to spiritual world. So that is what they chose. Now, by 4 Kumaras are cursing Jaya and Vijaya, so their desire is satisfied. Means they wanted to do something with Jaya and Vijaya because they stopped them, right? So that is satisfied. And then Jaya and Vijaya are being cursed. That means Lakshmi Devi is happy because she also wanted to teach a lesson to Jaya and Vijaya. So they got the curse. So she's happy. And Jaya and Vijaya are going to take birth as demons, and then Lord will kill them. That means Lord will execute some fight with them and then kill them. So Jaya and Vijaya's desires are also satisfied. So that way Lord made this very wonderful arrangement so that this particular pastime can take place. Now, after this, Jaya and Vijaya took birth as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha in this material world. Now, as demons, now they are going to behave as demons, even though they are pure devotees, Lord's associate. But in this way, they are becoming the demons. So they will definitely will act as demons in this material world. Now, Hiranyaksha was trying to harass Vijaya is Hiranyaksha. He was trying to harass the devotees of the Lord. He was trying to do all sort of bad things in the material world with his power. So I'm not going into that pastime wherein Varahadev, Lord Varahadev will appear, boar incarnation, and then he will kill Hiranyaksha. As we also know, Hiranyaksha will try to dig the earth to get gold, and then earth will fall down underneath, and then Varahadev has to come and then save the earth, Mother Earth, and then kill Hiranyaksha. So this even happened, and then Hiranyaksha's brother, Hiranyakashipu, he was not at all happy with this, killing of Hiranyaksha by Lord Vishnu. And he, being demons, they are envious of Lord Vishnu. That is their nature. So Hiranyakashipu had this envy towards Lord Vishnu. On top of that, when Lord Vishnu killed Hiranyaksha, his envy increased. So he became furious and he wanted to take revenge for his brother's death, and he wanted to kill Vishnu. And he thought, yes, I'm so powerful, I have all these facilities and I can easily kill Lord Vishnu. That was his mentality. So, but he wanted to make sure, he can really do that. So even though he was very proud, he still wanted to increase his strength, power. So he went for performing very, very, very severe austerities. Actually, he wanted to be immortal. That means I will never die. I will never become old. I'll still have this youthful body, which is very powerful and handsome, and I can attract everyone, etc. And I can control everyone forever. So that's what he wanted. So he started performing very severe austerities in the Mandara mountain. And it is described that by his so-called austerities, heavy heat was produced throughout the universe, upper and lower planetary systems, and everyone was suffocating. So finally, these demigods, they approached Lord Brahma, and then they complained that, no, we cannot survive like this. Please do something. Please do something. You are our master. So Lord Brahma decided to, go to the place where Hiranyakashipu was performing austerities, and then he approached Hiranyakashipu. So by that time, he was completely absorbed, Hiranyakashipu, in these austerities, and so many ants covered his body. So it became an ant hill of ants covering his body. Yeah, my mic is closer. How is it now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
It's better?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, sorry, last time also I had this issue. So Hiranyakashipu was covered with ant hill. No, nobody could see him, his body. But Lord Brahma knew where he was. So he sprinkled some water from his kamandalu. And by that sprinkling, Hiranyakashipu, because of these austerities, his body was becoming almost like thin and only bones were seen, etc. But now he revived his own youthful body, effulgent, beautiful body. As we can see here, these bones, etc. So after Brahma sprinkled the divine water, he became youthful Hiranyakashipu. And then Lord Brahma asked, what do you want? So, Hiranyakashipu wanted to become immortal. But then Lord Brahma told, I myself am not immortal. I'm not independent. So I cannot give that benediction. So then Hiranyakashipu played a trick. He wanted to trick Lord Brahma so that he can get a boon in such a way that he become immortal. But then he's not asking that directly. As we can see here, he asked that I will not be killed by any living entities created by you. So Lord Brahma told, yes. And I will not be killed within or outside any residence. I will not be killed during the daytime or nighttime, or on the ground or in the sky, or I will not be killed by any weapon. So he's trying out all options so that nobody can kill by any way. And then he thought, if nobody can kill me, then I'll be immortal. So Brahma gave all these benedictions. But as we can see later, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks that I am the greatest cheater. Nobody can cheat Krishna, and Krishna can cheat in the best possible way. So he's going to cheat Hiranyakashipu, even though he thought he covered all the options, right? So that's what happened. And then Hiranyakashipu went back to his palace. Now, long story short, before Hiranyakashipu was going for austerities, his wife became pregnant, and all these years his wife was very afraid that if I give birth to a baby, and if my husband is not with me, nobody is going to protect. If suppose demigods come and do something, my husband is not here, so I don't want to deliver my baby until my husband is back. So she was keeping this is the wife of Hiranyakashipu, Kayadu, and Prahlad Maharaj is the baby within the womb. So she did not deliver her baby till that time. So during that time, what happened is Indra knew that there is a baby in the womb of Kayadu, wife of Hiranyakashipu. And then now means when Hiranyakashipu was doing these austerities, Hiranyakashipu is not in the palace, so he is not going to attack. So this is the right time to do something, because Indra was afraid that the baby in the womb is also going to be a very powerful demon like Hiranyakashipu. That means this baby is also going to, when he grows up, he will also control us like Hiranyakashipu. So Indra wanted to actually kill that baby. So they actually took Kayadu. Indra came in the aeroplane and took Kayadu. And then the intention was to kill the baby in the womb. But our dear Narada Muni, he is a pure devotee of Lord. He knew that the baby in the womb of Kayadu is not a demon. The baby is a pure devotee of Lord. So on the way, while Indra was traveling with Kayadu, Narada Muni came into that location and convinced Indra, mentioning that the baby in the womb is not a demon. He is a pure devotee, so do not worry. So you don't want to kill that devotee. I will take care of them. And then Narada Muni took Kayadu to his own ashram and then gave shelter during that time when Hiranyakashipu was doing these austerities. So what happened during that time, that was the best period of Prahlad Maharaj, even though he was in the womb. As we can see, Narada Muni is instructing Kayadu, but he was actually instructing the baby in the womb. And Kayadu also, but the main purpose was to instruct Prahlad Maharaj. So he was speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, glories of Lord Krishna and his devotees, principles of devotional service, etc. So, a nice comment written here. One cannot imagine how the baby in the embryo could hear Narada, but this is spiritual life. Now, progress in spiritual life cannot be obstructed by any material condition. Ahaituki apradihata. There is a verse in second chapter of first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam regarding Paro Dharma, the topmost dharma is devotional service, and it cannot be interrupted by anything. So in any condition of life, whether your body or mind may be going through different calamities or difficulties, or you may be going through any difficult situation. We have several examples, many devotees in the past and present, but they are not affected. Their devotional service, bhakti, is not affected by any of these. So even in the womb, one can learn devotional service. That is the example given by Prahlad Maharaj. Now the reception of spiritual knowledge is never checked by any material condition. So Prahlad was able to learn everything about devotional service from Narada Muni while he was in the womb. Even though Kayadu was sometimes sleeping, sometimes, etc. This, not being attentive. Prahlad Maharaj, as a tiny baby in the womb, was always listening to Narada Muni's instruction. Now, when Hiranyakashipu is back, Kayadu went back to her own palace. Now, it is described that Prahlad is a pure devotee. He heard everything from from Narada Muni. He remembered everything. But Kayadu kind of forgot something, and after she went back to her palace, she was attached to her husband and the palace and surrounding facilities. So she sort of forgot these principles. But Prahlad continued to follow those principles. So when Hiranyakashipu came back, by that time, child was born. After he came back, Kayadu delivered the baby and all these celebrations, nice cute baby, etc., etc. Hiranyakashipu was very happy that he got all these boons from Lord Brahma, and he thought that now he is the controller. He is God himself. He can control everyone. He will not die. He will not become older. He can continue to be in this youthful body, etc. So he was very happy. Everything is going nicely. So he entrusted Prahlad, because he is growing now. He has to go to school. So he entrusted them in the Asura school, demon school. So the teachers were Shanda and Amaraka. They were demons. And naturally, they were teaching him politics, economics, and other materialistic sort of education. Now, Prahlad Maharaj, he was educated in devotional service while he was in the womb by the great devotee Lord Narada, the great devotee Narada Muni himself. So he simply continued to remember those instructions, but he never listened to the instructions of Shanda and Amaraka. And he, being a pure devotee, he was equal to everyone. He doesn't differentiate between friend and enemy. But these asuras, they will teach, of course, if this is a friend, you be nice. If it is enemy, you be very cruel to that enemy, etc. Those are materialistic teachings, and he never listened to that. So one fine day, as usual, parents are curious to know what their kids are learning. So his father Hiranyakashipu asked him what the best that he learned from these great teachers. For Hiranyakashipu, these teachers are really great. So what did you learn? What is the best thing? So very politely, Prahlad Maharaj is paying obeisances, etc. He's showing all the symptoms of a pure devotee, and very politely he responded, but very high devotional principles. So what Prahlad Maharaj responded is, he's only a young boy, 5 years old, but he was telling, a man engrossed in the material consciousness of duality. Duality means this is good, this is bad, you are good, you are not good, etc. Right? So this is mine, and that belongs to my enemy, and this is belong to my friend, etc. So if somebody is thinking like that in the material consciousness, that person should give up his householder life and go to the forest to worship the Supreme Lord. So actually Hiranyakashipu is actually in this material consciousness. He is thinking, no, Lord Vishnu is my enemy, demigods are my enemies, these asuras are my friends. Exactly same thing. So Prahlad Maharaj is indirectly speaking to his father also, that you should give up your householder life and go to forest to worship Supreme Lord. So imagine what kind of feeling he will have by hearing this. So he really got angry, and then he advised his teachers, you can see here these two, Shanda and Amaraka, to take care of the boy. How to take care? To take care in such a way that he will never become Krishna conscious. He will never become a devotee of Lord Vishnu. That is the instruction he is giving to his teachers. Completely opposite instruction. Now the teachers followed Hiranyakashipu's instruction, and then they started teaching Prahlad about materialistic education, but he will never listen. So they will ask him, why are you not listening? He will never listen. They will again and again ask, why are you not at all listening what we are teaching, etc. So he will never listen that. He will instruct them. He will try to, teach them, etc. So they became very angry. They tried this chastisement. They threatened him, etc., etc., with many fearful conditions, as those kind of teachers do. But nothing happened. Prahlad continued to be a pure devotee. Now let's see what happened. So one day, so Prahlad's mother personally washed him, young boy, little boy, and dressed him nicely, and decorated with some ornaments, etc., and then brought him in front of his father Hiranyakashipu. And then, as usual, Prahlad paid obeisances to his father, and Hiranyakashipu became very happy to see his son. He's thinking that, okay, now I instructed my teachers to teach him how to become a best asura. So he thought that happened. So he took him, embraced him, and took him and seated him on his lap, as any father will do. And then he looked at his young son. He got all these affection, emotions, and tears were coming from the eyes of the greatest demon, Hiranyakashipu. And then he asked very affectionately, my dear Prahlad, my dear son, oh long-lived one. Just remember this word, because it has a significance. He is Ayushman, he is addressing Prahlad, long-lived one. For so much time you have heard many things from your teachers. Now please repeat to me whatever you think is the best of that knowledge. So he's again asking, what is the best thing you learned, or share me what you learned the best. Now, interestingly, we can see what is the response from Prahlad Maharaj. He will recite these very, 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 very important principles in all of us, our devotional life. Anybody is executing devotional service and would like to become a devotee of Lord Krishna, they have to follow these principles. This is very, very important. So we will chant. So Prahlad Uvacha, he spoke, And this is the verse which describes 9 different processes of devotional service, how to practically execute devotional service. That's what he's, and that is the best thing he learned. That's what he is telling to Hiranyakashipu. Okay, so he speaks Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. So you can see here these different pictures. This is about Shravanam, which is hearing. So hearing Krishna Katha. Kirtanam means chanting the glories of the Lord, names of the Lord, pastimes, etc. Names and pastimes. And Smaranam means remembering the Lord. Now different ways we can remember Lord. You can remember the Lord in his deity form, or we can remember the Lord with his pastimes, etc., or his devotees, including. And Padasevanam, serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Archana means worshipping the Lord. Vandana means offering prayers. Dasyam means becoming a servant. Sakhyam, consider Lord to be the best friend. And then Atmanivedanam, complete surrender to the Lord. Now, one thing you can see, if you do one of these things, everything else might follow also. It is not that we do Shravanam and then we don't do anything else. Now that's not possible. Anybody is listening sincerely to Krishna Katha will feel like chanting the glories, chanting the holy name, and then automatically remembering. Smaranam will come. We will serve the lotus feet. We become the servant. We'll offer prayers, worship the Lord. These are all natural. But then, somebody may be more inclined to hearing than say chanting. Some person may, we know many people who likes to hear, and somebody else is very inclined to chanting, 24-hour or most of the time, or remembering, etc. So in the scripture there are mentions about devotees who are celebrated in each of these. That doesn't mean they don't do any other things, but they also do others, and there are other devotees also celebrated in these, but specifically these devotees, as you can see on the right side figure. So we can see this Shravanam, hearing, is specifically mentioned with Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj heard Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 consecutive days, because he was cursed to die in 7 days. So he heard Srimad Bhagavatam continuously. So he was celebrated as the devotee who is expert in hearing. And then Shukadev Goswami, who spoke Srimad Bhagavatam, is celebrated as the devotee who is expert in Kirtanam, glorifying Krishna. Similarly, Smaranam is Prahlad Maharaj himself. We'll see how he was remembering Lord. And then Padasevanam is Lakshmi Devi, always serving the lotus feet of her consort, Lord Narayan. And then Archanam is Prithu Maharaj. And Vandanam is Akrura. And Dasyam, Hanuman. Sakhyam, Bhagavad Gita, we know Arjuna is a friend of Krishna. And then Atmanivedanam is Bali Maharaj. So I'm not going into the pastimes of those. They are very wonderful. But now we'll focus on Prahlad Maharaj. So he also speaks the next verse following this 9 processes of devotional service. He speaks Iti Pumsar Pita Vishnu Bhaktischennava Lakshana Kriyate Bhagavatyadha Tanmanye Dhitamuttamam. He defines the most intelligent Uttama Bhakta, devotee. Who is he? Who is following these processes. By following these processes, if one worships Lord Vishnu, that person is most intelligent Uttama. That's what he's not talking to a devotee, or who is not talking to someone who is looking for Krishna or trying to become a devotee. No, he is speaking to the greatest of the demons, who is very envious to Lord Vishnu and who wants to kill Lord Vishnu. That kind of person is Hiranyakashipu. And little Prahlad, only 5-year-old, fearlessly speaking to his own father, but he's he's a big demon, right? He's talking to him. And after hearing this, imagine what Hiranyakashipu is doing. So immediately he turned to his teachers, Prahlad's teachers. So what Hiranyakashipu thought is, the teachers are teaching these kind of devotional services to my kid and they spoiled. So he thought, so he's telling, oh, unqualified, most heinous son of a Brahmana, you have disobeyed my order and taken shelter of the party of my enemies. You have taught this poor boy about devotional service. What is this nonsense? So he chastised the teachers. Now they will tell, oh my, oh our dear master, we never taught Prahlad any of these things. He learned these on his own, or somehow we don't know. That's what they'll respond. Then Hiranyakashipu became angry, and let's see what he's doing. So a few minutes before, he was very affectionately calling Prahlada, my dear Prahlada, all long lived one. But as soon as he heard this devotional service, the principles of devotional service or process of devotional service, Hiranyakashipu's, you can see his face. Little Prahlad is on his lap. Everything is same, but his mood got changed completely. Now he is not calling long-lived one or dear Prahlad, etc. He is calling you rascal, most fallen of our family. If you have not received this education from your teachers, where have you gotten it? So that is what you see. That's how demons. Sometimes they, even current days, we can see there are many demons. They seems to be very nice persons doing nice things to people, this, that, helping people, etc. But a right time comes, we can see their real nature, you know. So when, Hiranyakashipu chastises Prahlad, asking this question, where have you gotten these, whatever you told? He's not giving a direct response, oh, I got this from here, my father. He's not telling like that. What he is responding is, there are three very famous verses, very important verses. That's why that became famous, especially because Srila Prabhupada spoke about these three verses, as we can see. Canto 7 of Bhagavatam, chapter 5, verse 30, 31, 32. If you ever listen to Srila Prabhupada's lectures, somehow or other you will come across these verses, because these are very important for materialistic personalities, conditioned souls. That means most of the people in this material world, except the devotees, they are all running behind materialistic aspects. So Prahlad, even though he knew my father is very angry, anything can happen to me, but he was very fearless because he had full faith in Lord. So he spoke like this. So since these are very important verses, I'll chant these verses and describe some of these principles. Very nice. It's very good for us also. So Sri Prahlada Uvacha, Matirna Krishne Paratasvato va Mito Bhipadyeta Grihavratanam Adanta Gobhirvishatam Tamishram Punah Punascharvita Charvananam. This is very important here. Punah Charvita Charvananam. So Prahlad Maharaj replied, because of their uncontrolled senses. He's mentioning there, that means materialistic people, but indirectly he's also pointing your father is also materialistic man. So because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress toward hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. That is punah charvita charvananam. Chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. That means if somebody is too addicted to materialistic life, so they are doing the same thing again and again in the hoping that, okay, I did this last time and I wanted to enjoy my senses. Somehow or other it did not work. So let me try once again. Let me buy this thing so that I'll become happy. So I buy these and then I try, enjoying that. Somehow or other, some issues come, I was not happy. But after some time again, the person will think, oh, okay, maybe last time I tried that, maybe I did not do the right thing. Maybe I'll buy similar thing, but little different, whatever brand or something. Then I'll become happy. Again, do that. and again do that, for example, like that. So keep doing the same thing again and again, thinking that this time I'll become happy, this time I'll become happy, etc. We can think about our life also. So maybe we before we becoming serious devotees, we might have done that much more, but even after becoming devotees, sometimes we do that. Oh, I'll try this, this will satisfy me, etc. So that's what Prahlad Maharaj is telling. If you do that, you're going towards the hellish conditions of life. That means you'll never become happy. And their inclinations toward Krishna, suppose they have, every living entity is a spirit soul, and then everyone is actually Sachidananda spirit soul. The soul is Sachidananda, that means always blissful, but the soul is covered by all these materialistic attachments and conditioning, so that we forget Krishna. So that forgetfulness will not be removed if we are continuing to execute materialistic activities and trying to enjoy our senses, uncontrolled senses. Even if somebody instructs us, we will deny that. Even if somehow or other we try to execute that while trying to enjoy our senses too much, then we cannot approach Krishna, or combination of both. Correct? So no one else can help us unless we come out of this situation of continuously chewing that which has already been chewed. So that is what Prahlad Maharaj is mentioning. And in the next verse, this is verse 31. Nate vidu swathagatim si vishnum durashayaye bahirarthamanina andhayathandhairupaniyamanas shatantriam urudam nibaddha. So he speaks, persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life, and who have therefore accepted as their leader or guru a similar blind man attached to external sense objects, cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home back to Godhead and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. So very important verse, line here. As blind men guided by another blind man miss the right path and fall into a ditch, materially attached men led by another materially attached man are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor, which are made of very strong cords, and they continue again and again in materialistic life, suffering the threefold miseries. Meaning, suppose, good example given is, if there is a blind man walking in the road, and suppose another blind man is following the first blind man, is there a possibility that they both will reach the ultimate goal? Whatever their goal may be going from point A to point B, but if the person who is leading them himself is blind, then how can the other person or persons following them can reach the correct destination? It's very difficult, right? Similarly, if people are following a leader who himself is materially attached, then that leader is going to execute all the activities to satisfy his own senses, materialistic activities, and followers also will follow that. So they will never go back to Godhead. So that is the instruction Prahlad Maharaj is giving. Very, very important instruction, even in current days, or maybe more prominent these days, because most of the leaders are so-called materialistic people. They are ignorant of the devotional principles. So he's instructing this to Hiranyakashipu. He himself is acting as one such leader who is blind, who is ignorant in devotional service, and who is having so many followers. And he is forcing many to follow him also by scaring them, etc. And Prahlad Maharaj is giving him a nice instruction that you are a blind man, very fearless personality. And next verse is very sweet. We'll see why it is very sweet. This is verse 32. Naisham matistavadurukramanghrim sparshatyanarthapagamo yadartha mahiyasam padarajobhishekam nishkinjananam navrinitayaval. Now here we will see, before reading the translation, Prahlad Maharaj is not simply blaming his father. Oh, you are materialistic, you are a blind man, and you are taking so many followers into ditch, hellish conditions. That is not his intention. He is very, very compassionate. His intention is to give the right knowledge to his father also. So in this third verse, he's telling him what is the solution. How can one come out of this cycle of birth and death and achieve the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, right? So we'll see the instruction. The key point here is Mahiyasam Padarajobhishekam. Unless they means those people who are materialistic, they have uncontrolled senses, they are doing this puna puna charvida charvananam, repeatedly doing the same thing and not getting any happiness, following the blind leader, etc. They, unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, completely freed from material contamination. Meaning, if they don't take the dust from the lotus feet of a pure Vaishnava, who is the Vaishnava is completely freed from material contamination. If they don't do that, persons very much inclined toward materialistic life, same sort of persons, cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities. Right? If they don't take the dust from the lotus feet of a pure devotee, they cannot achieve Lord. That's the meaning. Now, only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord in this way means by taking the lotus feet of, or by approaching the lotus feet, taking the dust from the lotus feet of a pure devotee and then take the shelter of Krishna. Only by doing that, then only one can be freed from materialistic contamination. Correct? So this is very beautiful instruction. He's directly giving, if you want to take shelter of Krishna, approach a pure devotee, take the dust of the lotus feet. Now, there is a nice description. What is meant by dust of a lotus feet of a devotee? Of course, directly we can go and touch the lotus feet of a devotee and take the dust and smear our body. That is fine, very, very auspicious. But more than that, the dust of the lotus feet of a devotee means the instructions given by the devotee. So smearing that on our bodies means, understanding that instruction and following that instruction of a pure devotee, like Srila Prabhupada. That's what we are doing. And he is giving the instructions given by Krishna through the chain of disciplic succession. So Prahlad Maharaja's instructions, they are same as Prabhupada's instruction. So in that way, if we try to take shelter of Krishna, then we can become Krishna conscious. That is instruction he is giving to Hiranyakashipu. Okay. Now what happens? When Prahlad spoke like this, Hiranyakashipu's anger increased many, many times. He really became angry to such an extent that the same Hiranyakashipu who called Prahlad Maharaj as long-lived one, my dear Prahlad, sometime before, he took his beautiful boy from his lap and then threw him to the floor. Imagine a father who is throwing his 5-year-old boy, in that way. So that kind of mentality is shown by Hiranyakashipu. And then he even wanted Prahlad to be killed. The long-lived one, the father blessed him, long-lived one. And now he is asking his servants, demons, to kill him. Completely opposite. Suddenly he switched from this end to the other end, right? And then he will ask his demons to kill Prahlad in all kind of very, very, very cruel ways. We can see that Prahlad is Hare Krishna.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Prabhu.
Oh, yeah.
Would you mind just trying one small experiment? Can you move your microphone a little away from your face?
Yeah,
because it's a lot of the popping effect.
How about now?
It's better, Prabhu. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry again. Yeah. So Hiranyakashipu's servants, the demons, you can see here a big elephant is here and the elephant is about to kill Prahlad Maharaj. Here several very, very poisonous snakes. He is surrounded by the snakes. And the demons themselves, they are trying to kill Prahlad. They're throwing him from a cliff and then putting him under fire, etc. But all these times we can see Prahlad is celebrated as a devotee who is good in hearing, remembering the Lord. So all those instructions he heard from Narada Muni when he was in the womb, he's remembering that very nicely, and he's simply completely faithful to Lord and understanding that if the Lord would like to protect me, let him protect. That's all. That's all his mentality. He's not caring about what is happening around him. So because of that, Lord protected him in all these difficult situations. Lord, very, very difficult situations. We cannot even imagine going through such situations. And it's described that, he was falling down and he was simply remembering Krishna. And then here you can see Krishna is about to hold him in his lotus hands. So he was protected, by the way, all this in all these situations. Now, after this, Hiranyakashipu thought that, my teachers will continue to teach him and he will somehow become a nice boy. And teachers tried to teach. But what Prahlad Maharaj did, when the teachers are away from the classroom, he started preaching to his own classmates. Now he was instructing Hiranyakashipu, now he is preaching to his classmates. So there are many, many verses in Srimad Bhagavatam. Prahlad's teaching is very, very elaborate. So Srila Prabhupada, when he was translating Bhagavatam, he also made a separate book called Teachings of Prahlad Maharaj. Separate book, because he knew the importance of Prahlad's teaching. Even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he used to like hearing Prahlad Maharaja's stories again and again, and through Maharajas. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave such importance, and Prabhupada also followed that same. He also gave great importance to Prahlad's teaching. And he started his teaching with this verse, Kaumara acharit pragyo dharman bhagavataniha durlabham manusham janma tadapyadhruvam arthadam. That means he's telling, I'm not reading the whole thing, but he's speaking to young children around his age. They would like to play, but he's telling when human beings are children, they should be taught that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the worshipable deity for everyone. Kaumara acharit prajna. Right from beginning of childhood, one should be taught that the Supreme Personality is the worshipable deity and all the devotional principles. He is also telling one should not be very much interested in material enjoyment, because the kids wanted to play because teachers were away. But then Prahlad Maharaj instructed them, no, playing is okay, but let's learn devotional service. That is more important, even from this age. So he's telling here, in the beginning of our lives, let us enjoy material facilities. He's telling, if one may think like this is wrong. And in the old age, we may become Krishna conscious. But he's correcting them, no. Right from beginning, we should learn devotional service and start executing devotional service. Now we can see Srila Prabhupada has given a very, very practical approach to devotional service, wherein we have all sort of, we can experience all sort of emotions, happiness, and different varieties of opportunities within the devotional practices. In the temple we have dramas, and yesterday if you came to temple, you will see that kids were playing in the temple with water and all these things, and having kirtan, dancing, etc. So there are all sort of opportunities to enjoy in that sense, enjoy with Krishna and devotees. So, but here Prahlad Maharaj is telling, do not try to enjoy without Krishna. That means enjoying our own senses and, keeping away Krishna from our life. That is not so good. So he's telling here that this is the duty of all living entities, to be engaged in the devotional service right from the beginning of life. And he also adds this: material education is infected by the three modes of nature, but spiritual education, for which there is a great need in human society, is transcendental. So that is his wonderful teaching to the demon kids. And then, since he is a pure devotee, this is coming from the heart of a very pure devotee. These kids, demon kids, also got that knowledge of that spiritual knowledge, transcendental knowledge. And then he was able to, conduct Sankirtan in the classroom. Prahlad leads Sankirtan in the school. He chants Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You can see all the kids are dancing very nicely with Prahlad when the teachers are away. Now, when they are back, when the teachers are back again, they will chastise Prahlad, etc. And finally, the teachers understood that they cannot do anything with this boy. This boy is completely absorbed in Lord Krishna. He is completely attached to devotional service, and then they are, not able to do anything. So they informed that to their master Hiranyakashipu. Now Hiranyakashipu got bewildered. He was thinking, I tried to kill him different ways and chastise him. The teachers are chastising him, all these things, but nothing has happened to Prahlad Maharaj. He is completely fixed in Lord Vishnu. He never moves a little bit, and he is even teaching to other kids, etc. So he got really angry, and he himself wanted to kill. He thought, I tried through my servants, maybe they are not so good. They're not as powerful as me, but I am so powerful. I got these boons. I am better than Lord Vishnu. So I can do whatever I like. So let me, try to kill him. So before that, he asked Prahlad, what is the source and strength of your protection? And Prahlad nicely will tell, my source is same as your own source also. So that Hiranyakashipu got again angry. My source? No, I am the Lord, I am God, etc. That's what he is thinking. So he was very, very unhappy with that. And Prahlad also started glorifying his source, which is Lord Vishnu. He glorifies Vishnu's qualities, etc. Upon hearing these glories, he became more angry. And he is asking, I'm hearing this from you since so many days, but I never saw him. Where is he? Etc. So Prahlad mentioned that he's, omnipresent, as you can see in the last line. Supreme Personality is omnipresent and is therefore present in every part of this universe, in every atom. As we know, he is present in every atom of this universe also. Then, Hiranyakashipu asks, is he in this pillar? Then Prahlad Maharaj told yes. And then, as we know, he'll try to break the pillar, and we can see what happens. So Hiranyakashipu, he did not expect that this will happen. But since, he was in a very angry mood, so he just broke the pillar, and then immediately you can see the beautiful but ferocious form of Lord Narasimha appears from this pillar. And, as we discussed in the beginning, Narasimha, is Krishna's incarnation only. So Lord wanted to experience this Veera Rasa, and Jaya and Vijaya, his own devotees. So they wanted to, satisfy Lord by providing that Veera Rasa or participating in that Veera Rasa exchange with Lord. So here Hiranyakashipu is getting that opportunity. So he fought with Lord Narasimha for some time. Of course, Hiranyakashipu thought he is the most powerful man. And then, as we know, Lord is the most powerful man. So a big fight happened for some time. And then there is also an issue here, right? Hiranyakashipu thought he is immortal. Nobody can kill him. Nobody can kill him with any weapons, day or night, inside residence or outside residence. So he never thought he will be killed. But as we know, very beautifully, without touching any of those bones, or keeping those bones as true as we know, Lord Narasimha kills Hiranyakashipu. We can see that, he is not a living entity created by Lord Brahma. He's not a man, he's not an animal, half man, half animal, not using a weapon, just using his own nails, which is part of the body. It is not day or night, it is in between the Sandhya, and not inside or outside the house. It is in between again, etc. So he very intelligently, most intelligent person, the Lord himself, he kills Narasimha Dev. So we have this nice bhajan we chant every day for Narasimharati. Tavakara kamalavare nakham albhuta shrungam dalita hiranyakashipu tanu bhringam keshavadhrita narahari rupa jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare. So he's using his nails from Tavakara kamalavare nakham albhuta shrungam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bhrangam, his body, Tanu Bhrangam, his body is smeared. So that Lord, we are offering our obeisances. And we can see here Prahlad Maharaj is very steady, fixed in Narasimhadeva. Even though his father is being killed, he knew his Lord's purpose, etc. He has full faith in Lord. So he's still praying to Lord later that please, give all benedictions to my father. He's thinking in a soul perspective. My father is also soul, a person. He's not just this body. So he never felt envious, or he never felt angry towards his father, even though father was trying to kill him. So that was his mentality. So the Narasimhadev was very angry. Of course, he's showing anger towards his, whoever is attacking his devotee, he's showing anger. So after killing Hiranyakashipu, all those demons came to attack Lord Narasimhadev. So he killed them also, as we can see here. And he was still keeping his anger. So Lord Brahma and other demigods are they are present there. Lord Shiva, etc. Lakshmi Devi herself. So they all tried to pacify the Lord, but nothing worked out. Even they were angry. Even Lakshmi Devi herself was his own consort, Lord's consort, was fearful to go near the Lord. So Lord Brahma instructed Prahlad Maharaj, my dear Prahlad, please go near the Lord and offer your prayers and pacify him. So Prahlad did that, and just by hearing the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, just by seeing him, Lord got pacified. As you can see, Lord will keep his beautiful hands on Prahlad Maharaj, give him all blessings. Also, he wanted to give some benedictions to Prahlad Maharaj. He'll ask what benediction you want. So Prahlad tells, I don't want any benediction from you. And it's a nice set of prayers. But I'll read one very beautiful prayer. Prahlad is speaking, "Oh my Lord, I am your unmotivated servant. I have no material desires." That's meant by unmotivated. And you are my eternal master. There is no need of our being anything other than master and servant. You are naturally my master, and I am naturally your servant. We have no other relationship. That's it. I am your servant. You are my master. So I don't ask something. I am doing this service, so give me this, etc. No, nothing like that. The relationship is simply master-servant, nothing beyond that. That's what he's telling. And then he's also telling, I just need the service of your pure devotee. Tava bhritya sevam, he mentions. I just need to serve Narada Muni. That's what Prahlad Maharaj is telling. So he's not forgetting that, I got these instructions from Narada Muni, etc. Now that I can see you in front of me, so I don't need any guru. That is not his mood. I still need to continue my service eternally to my spiritual master and the devotees. That's what Prahlad Maharaj is telling. And he also requests Narasimhadev for something. What is that? welfare of all the conditioned souls. Upon which the Lord proclaimed that anyone who would hear the description of the story of Prahlad Narasimha would be quickly liberated and would not have to suffer in this material world. So just by hearing the glories of Prahlad Maharaj and his pastimes with Narasimha Dev, we can be liberated. That's what the Lord is telling. So Prahlad Maharaj is giving very, very high significance to this fact that all the conditioned souls are being liberated. And then he wanted to become an instrument in delivering them, in delivering Krishna's knowledge, spiritual knowledge to them, and then give them a chance to become Krishna conscious. So that is the only his prayers. If at all I want to ask something, this is the thing I want. I would like to make sure you give them blessings so that they can come back to you, create that situation. And I would like to be an instrument for that. That is Prahlad Maharaja's prayer. So I will recite two more prayers. This is from Canto 5 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Without going into the details, Prahlad Maharaj offers a prayer. This is happening later in the point in time. But I don't go into those details. Much later, not in that during that day when Hiranyakashipu was killed. So there are two very, very important prayers. The first prayer is, it is like a mantra, Vedic, like it looks like a Vedic mantra. Of course it is. So I'll recite because it's very auspicious to recite the Sanskrit also. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya Namaste Aviravirbhava Vajranakha Vajradamshtra Karmashayan Randhaya Randhaya Tamo Grasa Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Atmani Bhuishtha Om Shraum. Very, very powerful mantra. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Narasimhadeva, the source of all power. O my Lord, who possess nails and teeth just like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy, we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. So Prahlad is praying, he is a pure devotee, but he is praying this for us. So request is, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires. So probably we may not be demons like Hiranyakashipu, but in our hearts we have contaminations, we have material desires. That is compared to demon-like desires. These are the desires which demons possess usually. I want to enjoy without Krishna, in simple words. That is a demoniac mentality. So please vanquish that mentality. That's a prayer to Lord Narasimhadev. And then we are requesting, please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so that your mercy, by your mercy, we become fearless in the struggle for existence. So in this material world, yes, we are struggling day to day, every day. So please give your mercy and remove our ignorance, so that we won't feel this, even though we are going through difficult situations, we don't get distracted from your service. That is the prayer. So now this is good. The next verse is much more sweet, because what Prahlad Maharaj is praying along with his other associates is, Swastyastu Vishwasya Khala Prasidatam Dhyayantu Bhutani Shivam Mithodhiya Manascha Bhadram Bhajatadadhokshaje Aveshyatam no Matirapyahaituki. So he's praying, Swastyastu Vishwasya. May there be good fortune throughout the universe. So he's giving his compassion now, we can see. Not only praying for himself, but good fortune for the whole universe. And then he's telling Khala Prasidatam. Khala means envious people. So he's not only praying for devotees. May all envious persons be pacified. That means let all these envious persons be pacified so that they don't exhibit their enviousness. And then he's telling Dhyayantu Bhutani Shivam Mithodhiya. May all living entities become calm by practicing Bhakti Yoga. So that is a very nice point here. If one performs Bhakti Yoga, they become calm. That is a way to go for becoming calm. And he's telling, for by accepting devotional service, what will happen? They will think of each other's welfare. Of course, ultimate purpose is to re-establish connection, relationship with Krishna and achieve love of Godhead. But at the same time, because Krishna loves every living entity, all are his parts and parcels, so the devotee also feels the same. The devotee feels welfare for each other. No, they don't feel like competition, etc. But in materialistic activities, we feel competition. Oh, he's better than me. He's not that good. I want to become better than him. I'll do whatever I want to, destroy him, etc. But he's telling, by accepting devotional service, we'll think of each other's welfare. So therefore, what we'll do, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Sri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thought of him. So this is the compassionate nature of Prahlad Maharaj and any other pure devotees. Srila Prabhupada exactly followed this path. He is very, very compassionate. That's why he took whatever he wanted to do to obey his spiritual master's instruction, that was to preach to everyone, especially in the Western world, but throughout the world. So Prabhupada followed that same compassion, and he gave the compassion to all the living entities by different ways, especially through the books. And then we are able to experience his compassion through his followers. And then we are instructed to continue this process. First, take the devotional service, apply in our own life, purify ourselves, and then give that, or become an instrument in giving that message to other living entities. So that is the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj. And I'll end with these two prayers. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we can see Prahlad's name is mentioned here. So I'll chant these two prayers. These are also very, very nice to chant. Shri Narasimha, Jaya Narasimha, Jaya Jaya Narasimha, Prahladesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bhranga. All glories to Narasimha Deva. All glories to Narasimha Deva, who is the Lord of Prahlad Maharaj, and like a honeybee is always engaged in beholding the lotus-like face of the goddess of fortune. We can see Lakshmi Narasimha. The next one, Ugropyanugra evayam swabhaktanam nirkesari keshari vasa swapropotanam anyesham ugra vikrama. Although very ferocious, the lioness is very kind to her cubs. A lion is ferocious, but affectionate to their kids. Similarly, although very ferocious to non-devotees like Hiranyakashipu, Lord Narasimhadeva is very, very soft and kind to devotees like Prahlad Maharaj. He is very ferocious, but devotees are not afraid of Narasimhadev. They like Narasimhadev. So this is from Mayapur Narasimhadeva. This is our own SNGM temple. So different moods, but in externally, whatever mood Narasimhadev shows, devotees are always peaceful because he loves the devotees. So today is Narasimha Chaturdashi. On this auspicious day, we can pray to Narasimhadev. His other names are Bhaktavalsala and Bhakti Vighna Vinashak. So Bhakti Vighna Vinashak means destroyer of any obstacles in the path of bhakti. He has sharp claws for the demons. That's for the demons. But he's also Bhaktavalsala, very merciful to his devotees, very, very soft palms. That is for the devotee. So as devotees of Lord, we can pray to the Lord that please show mercy to us so that we can completely fix our mind in the lotus feet of the Lord, and we can progress in our devotional path. And please, destroy all the obstacles. Now, the obstacles may not be externally. There are many obstacles within our hearts, as we just read. Cleanse our hearts, vanquish our demon-like desires. So we'll pray to Lord Narasimhadeva and Prahlad Maharaj. Praying through Prahlad Maharaj means it's very easy. Going through a devotee, that our demon-like desires are destroyed, Bhakti Vighna Vinashak, so that our bhakti path will be smooth. So with this, I will stop and seek your blessing so that I can also approach Lord Narasimhadev for my purification. So I would like to invite for any reflections or comments or questions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
I
Krishna.
just like to thank you. You put in a very good sequence and a sorted flow of verses so that we all can relish the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj. And even, I think as late as yesterday, you took the pictures and put it all together. Thank you very much for doing this for us.
Hare Krishna. All the mercies of spiritual master and devotees.
Thank you.
Hare
It's
Krishna.
very nice. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, actually,
Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji.
Please accept my humble
Bless
obeisances
you.
too.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, this Hiranyaksha and the Hiranyakashipu came to being is because of the pure devotees of Lord Vishnu only, because that Sant Kumara cursed them. Why the pure devotees of Sant Kumara become angry? Actually, a devotee should not be angry, but they are not just devotees. They are, because they can go directly to the Vaikuntha as their own will. And such a devotee is become angry and cursed that actually that Jaya Vidya was doing their duty only, their karma only actually.
Yeah.
Because of performing that karma, they being cursed and came here and created a lot of problem. Why this is happening?
So good question. So this is Lord's divine arrangement. So for executing his Leela, he will use his own devotees in different ways. So some and devotees are completely surrendered, and they simply will be acting based on Lord's wish. So this is a divine arrangement. It's not that four Kumaras are not elevated and they are becoming angry like us. Oh, this person insulted me, so let me fight back. That is not the way they are behaving. But Lord wanted to create this situation so that he can execute this particular pastime. So there are, as I mentioned in the beginning, so he wanted to, different reasons satisfy Jai Vijaya's desire to fight, to satisfy Veera Rasa and Lakshmi Devi's desire, and then for Kumara. So externally it looks like, they are controlled by the lower modes of nature, but it's not like that. So Lord is arranging these pastimes. Even the Bhagavad Gita, as we know, Arjuna is a pure devotee associate, but he got bewildered like us. So Krishna created that situation so that he can speak Bhagavad Gita for the benefit of the conditioned souls like us. And then many instances we can see that. So this is one such instance.
Can I just add something here?
Yes, please.
Sajid Prabhu, just to add further to what Premavardhan Prabhu was mentioning. You were there for this entire past week where we discussed the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, right, Prabhu? Sajid Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
And one of the first verses of the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, the canto 2, chapter 9, text 33, I think, starts saying, whatever you see, either first or second, I'm forgetting that. Whatever we see in this world, if it is not in relation to the absolute truth, it has no value. And one has to see everything in this world in relation to the Supreme Lord. You recollect that, Sajid Prabhu? We discussed. Yes. Okay. So that's the one other dimension of the answer to your question, in the sense that if there is anger in this material world, how do we see it in relation to the spiritual world? Is there no anger in the spiritual world? And so the answer is, actually there is anger in the spiritual world. We think that there is anger and there is despondency or there is sadness in this world, is there no anger and sadness in spiritual world? There is a spiritualized version of anger and spiritualized version of sadness. For example, Hanuman became angry at Ravana and he rendered service. That anger was the impetus for him to render service. Likewise, in the spiritual world, Srimati Radharani gets angry at some actions of Krishna. Why? Not because Krishna is not taking care of her, but she wants to give pleasure to Krishna. So that's present in the spiritual world. We think that the spiritual world is a negation of the material world. Whatever is there in the material world shouldn't be present in the spiritual world. But that's not the thing. The tattva or the principle which we hear from the Srimad Bhagavatam is it exists. Whatever exists in the material world exists in the spiritual world. The purpose for what exists is the only one which changes. If there is an anger, the purpose of anger is different in material world and that in the spiritual world. So this is the change in our internal vision which we need to make as we progress in our spiritual life. Is this okay, or you have some thoughts on this, or you think it's no, not this way? What do you think, Sajeev Prabhu?
It is okay, but it is not simply understandable. It is hard to understand, but we have it perceived in such a way.
So let me put it in a different perspective. There are different, what is called as rasa. Like for use, I think you speak Malayalam, right, Sajeev Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So you understand the meaning of the word rasa. You use that, like there is a particular taste in something, right? So there is a taste in relationships. So when you look at it, say for example, a husband and a wife. The husband may tease the wife. Sometimes he may express something angrily. The wife may express something angrily. And in a very, very mature husband and wife relationship, they know that they're actually having fun with each other. And so they so this is what is called a particular rasa of relationship. And this is the kind of rasa which the Supreme Lord is having. In fact, why did Narasimha Dev come to kill Hiranyakashipu? You all know, and I think you definitely know, Hiranyakashipu was one of the two Dwarapalakas or the gatekeepers of Vaikuntha. So just like normal human beings, the Supreme Lord also wanted to have a good combat. When he wants to have a good combat, he needs somebody who can also give it to him. If say, for example, I want to have a combat with you, like I want to just, like the small boys, they like fighting with each other. They just like kicking each other and doing something. And you need the opposite person also to have that ferociousness. If the other person thinks, oh, you are the Supreme Lord, how can I do anything to you? I have to just fall at your feet. It will not happen. It just doesn't happen. So one of the ways of the Leela, the way it unfolded is that the Supreme Lord wanted a person to have a nice combat with, and who else to have a combat other than one of his intimate servants. So that's one particular dimension. So the rasa, there are different rasas. Some of the rasas are Shanta rasa, where one is just in the process of admiration. Most of us think bhakti is only limited to this Shanta rasa. Then there is Dasya. There is one of service. We are somewhat accustomed to this too. Then we have the service of Vatsalya, having a relationship with the Lord in the form of being a parent, especially say in Kerala with Guru Ayyappan. The rasa is that I would, like Guru Ayyappan is a small child who needs my attention, who needs butter, and I will take care of Krishna in the form of Guru Ayyappan by giving him whatever food he wants. Then there is Sakya, the mood of friendship. Then there is Madhurya, where one has a loving relationship, like a conjugal loving relationship. Other than these five, there are 7 other secondary rasas. And amongst these secondary rasas, there are rasas called as Karuna rasa. And there is a rasa of wanting to give protection. Narasimha Dev is appearing like the incarnation of the Supreme Lord who comes to give Madhura Rasa or Madhurya Rasa is Krishna. And the incarnation of the Supreme Lord who comes to give this other particular rasa of wanting to give protection and affection is this Narasimha avatar. And we also have Ramachandra. He comes in the rasa of Karuna. So there is, and this Karuna rasa is actually an intense sadness is there. So there is also intense sadness. There is intense anger. All of this have their place in the Supreme Lord, and therefore we find it even in the material world. It's just the purpose for which this anger, this sadness is present is not there. So if we try to negate, saying there should be no anger, there should be no sadness, we will be effectively following the footsteps of the Buddhists. The Buddhists and the monists to some extent, they are called as the negationists. They negate everything of this world. They want to escape away from this world. They don't want to live with this world. And that is the problem. Because their philosophy rests on thinking spiritual is not of material, therefore they are called as Shunyavada. So you take everything from this world, negate it. What do you get? Shunya, nothingness. And that is what we have commonly understood to be spiritual. From our childhood, we have thought this Shunyavada to actually represent the Vedic philosophy. In fact, it is not. It is way different. So sometimes it takes time for us to appreciate this aspect that there are different rasas in the Supreme Lord, and he likes to engage with devotees in different rasas. I mean, it's not easy for us to understand our current condition. I'm not sure if I really answered your question, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Nice explanation. Thank you, Prabhu. So anybody else? Okay, so we will stop here, right? Okay, so Shri Lakshmi Narasimha Dev ki jai, Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gurudev ki jai, Shri Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyev cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you.